Good morning, gamers, and welcome to today's YouTube video. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing my history in playing sports. So it'll just be like how from elementary, and then how I transitioned into high school, and then kind of like where I see myself going in the future. Let's get into it. Soccer, right? Everyone pretty much played it growing up because it's just like the easiest sport to play. You just need a ball and a field, and then you can just kick it around with your friends, right? So in like grade, like even from just kindergarten all the way up to like grade 7, I was playing soccer, right, just with the boys, and so that was a large part of elementary, and then just got me running, and then kind of like realizing that like, oh, I kind of like running and kind of how it makes me feel. Because like exercise is the best kind of antidepressant, as like some scientists have stated. From an old school to a new school, I started making new friends, and they got me into football. Right, football's fun, and basically, they just taught me all about the sport, and kind of I got hooked on it. I just immediately was like, oh, I want to play football for as long as I could, and then that led me into high school. And then from there, I was playing high school football. I played in grade 8, and we made it to finals in BC Place. So we were able to go play in BC Place, and say, just like here in BC Place, just the overall like atmosphere was just crazy. Like playing somewhere, and then like even in this game right here, it was the semifinal, just absolutely pouring rain, and just making all these big plays just like felt absolutely like crazy. And then as well, like even in like a smaller game, just being able to go up and just like make a tackle, it was crazy. Like grade 8 football was kind of one of the best times I've ever had. Well, then rugby season rolls around after a couple months of doing my schoolwork as student athlete. Student becomes before athlete, so yeah, grade 8 rugby rolls around. I was reluctant to play, even though I'd made a deal with my friend. If he plays football, I'll play rugby. I was reluctant still, but I eventually caved in and signed all the papers and whatnot. And from rugby, it was definitely a learning stage. I was like learning how the game works, like just all the techniques, kind of like, yeah, those sort of things, and kind of like how to fit into the game, like what position to play. So I ended up playing a position that was like almost built for me, called lock. It's like literally perfectly designed for like my body type, kind of big, not very fast, but can like work and willing to like hit people. So that was good for me. And then, but halfway through the season, my buddy Nathan, the one that I made the deal with, he got concussed, so I ended up moving back to 8-man, which I loved. That was like my favorite thing ever. I literally just got to go out and hit people like every other play. It was the best. And then apparently coaches think that I did pretty good, as I got an award for it. So at that point I was like, oh, I guess I'm pretty good at rugby. And then I had the choice to go on to play PRCs, and both of my coaches wanted me to, but I decided not to. At this point, I was still must play football. I'm way better at football, even though like I knew that like deep down I was better at rugby. So then that went from winning awards to then going and playing spring football, where I sprained my ACL and didn't even get to play in the game. So that was hard on me because I had to miss that, and I was super amped up for it. And then just over the summer, I was just kind of training, going out like down to athletic parks and stuff and whatnot, just like getting cardio sessions and whatnot. And then fall rolls around, and it's time for fall football, the sport that everyone loves at Tweedsmuir, right? And then I didn't have very many highlights, just like this one thing right here is like all that I have from it, because I was literally a nobody on the team. Like I said, I had no highlights, and then I really only made a name for myself when I dislocated my knee, as shown like right here. So that this knocked me out for like the rest of the football season, and I ended up not knowing if I could like play rugby. Fortunately, I was able to play rugby after just like a little bit of preseason training, like just weight training, just work up the quads, work up the shoulders, just get ready for like the kind of the basics of rugby, kind of like relearning everything. Because after that, like I was like football still, so I had to get into like rugby mood, and like it was evident that I was still like a football player, and like I had the football player mindset because in the first game I literally had no form in my tackles. I was literally going all around the neck, which is totally illegal in rugby. So, and then it was a learning process throughout the season. So I ended up having practices like 3 times a week, and sometimes going to the gym like on Saturdays, just because I was feeling like I needed extra work. So it was clear to me that I was like much more willing to put in work for rugby. So then it was kind of clicking like, oh, I must be like open to rugby and must be better at rugby, because it's just one of those like self-conscious things where it's like if you want to do better, you must like it more. And that was definitely evident for me because it showed off. Like I was like willing to do everything. So it was definitely a learning process, and then eventually I did get good enough because I got award numero deux. That was a mix of 2 languages right there. I hit him with the high low. But yeah, so I got award number 2, and then that was after like a very fun season. I got like this hat right here. Yeah, so that was a time. I had so much fun in that game, even though like we lost, but we only lost because like we had a terrible ref, like terrible, missed probably like 15 calls. So that was definitely a disappointment. Oh, that game wasn't exactly the best. Like it was still like loads of fun, like just being out with the boys, as you can like see right here, and like just like preparing for a game for that opening kickoff right here, and then like even just like I said, my position just being perfect for it. It was a time for sure. And then rugby ended, and then suddenly it's spring football, and I personally I didn't want to play. I straight up didn't want to play. I wanted to go completely rugby, all rugby, focus on rugby, because I'm good at it. And then my mom was like, "No, you should play football, just to stay in shape, and because I want to see you play football, because I understand it." So my mom's saying that, then I'm saying no, I just want to play rugby. But eventually, I caved in because playing football just like popularity points. Like I was playing it for the wrong reason. That's why I didn't really have that drive. But our team, in at least in the spring, was tiny. Like I was one of 3 returning O linemen, which was terrible. Like we had no size on the offensive line. So it was not good. So I ended up being one of our better players for spring. And throughout the camp, I was like showing my all to the coaches, because if I'm going to be there, why not be all out? Why not put everything I have on the table to, try to maybe even get my education paid for? Yeah, so the spring game went well, and we just completely manhandled them. We completely dominated them, even with the small offensive line. We won by like 30. And then PRCs happened. I'm like, oh, I want to play this. I want to go be potentially on Team BC, because that's what PRCs is. It's essentially you go play for your local team, and then you all gather up Canada Day weekend, and you play all the teams. So there's a team Valley West, Valley East, Vancouver South, Vancouver North, Tora, which is essentially Thompson Okanagan, and that's where I got the jersey from. So it was fun, except for the knee dislocation, not being able to play. But I was for the boys, so I showed up. I pulled up, and it was fun, apart from not being able to play. So now it's just about trusting the process and just being willing to go out and work out and get my knee better. So it'll be a journey, but worth it. Good night, you beautiful people. Hope that you come to my channel again.